Hi there, welcome to our channel. This is episode 5, and in this episode, I want to talk about the builder. So as I mentioned in the previous episode, we had gotten 3 bids, and we ended up going with the lowest bid for 2 reasons. Number one, it was the lowest. Number two, um, this particular builder would be able to start the project right away, which was something the other 2 could not do. Not only were they higher, but they couldn't even tell us when the project, when they would be able to start in the project. The license is issued with a specific completion time period, which I think is like 24 months. You could apply for an extension, but the clock starts ticking once the license is issued. The builder sent us an invoice asking for a down payment, and then he breaks up the total amount on his bid. He breaks it up into monthly payments, which he then deducts 10% of your down payment and applies it to each invoice until you zero the invoice out by the end of project completion. Project started out very well. He broke ground January 13, 2020. It was very exciting. It was just going like gangbusters, and we were absolutely thrilled. Every month, we were receiving his invoice, which came with a relatorio, which is just sort of like a recap of what had been done in the previous 30 days, and it's always, everything was like super exciting to see, and all was well. COVID hit, and that started to slowly but surely slow things down. There were all kinds of challenges, from getting materials, price increases, where the builder had to continually come back to us and say, listen, I can't honor the price on the bid because my suppliers have now doubled their price, and that started to become very concerning, because what I started to feel was that he was passing all of the price increases onto us, and I just didn't feel like he was sharing on that liability. But we wanted the project done, and time was of the essence, and it is what it is, and he wouldn't budge on sharing those price increases, and we just wanted to get it done because we felt it was in our best interest to get it done as quickly as possible. There was no turning back, and really we couldn't start over with someone else. So onwards and forwards we went. Then the other thing we noticed, though, as time went on, is that this builder that was building our house, he started getting very busy with other projects. So now, whereas before he was showing up a couple of times a week, now he was showing up every once in a while. So the projects just started to drag on. Also, we started doing alterations to the project, because we happened to be working remotely from Portugal. So as time went on, we started to see flaws in the project, and we started to backfill some of those flaws. We spoke about that in the last episode, and this also caused some delays, because in some cases we had to get a permit for the alteration, and that takes time in Portugal. So everything was going slowly but surely, and then we started to have some issues with the engineer because we started feeling like he just wasn't on top of his game. What we came to find out at that particular moment or that particular time was that the engineer had a personal relationship, a very personal relationship with this builder. So what happened was there was clearly a conflict of interest where I started to feel like my engineer slash project manager, was not watching out for my best interest. It seemed like most of the time, it seemed like he was more concerned about the builder than he was about his customer, his client, Dulce and I. So that created a lot of friction between the engineer and I. As mentioned in the last episode, I couldn't really change engineers, but I noticed that my relationship with the builder started to change as a result of the semi-hostile relationship that I started to have with his friend, the engineer, who's supposed to be watching over him. Takeaway was, before you hire a builder and someone to supervise the builder, make sure that the person doing the supervising doesn't have a conflict of interest vis-a-vis a pre-existing relationship where they're buddies with each other. The big problem that we faced was that the engineer let the license expire. The building license expired. And when the building license expired, the electric company shut off our electricity because the electricity we had was for a construction. Once the permit ended, the next day they shut off our electricity. This was a major problem because we needed electricity to keep the project going. And fortunately for us, we were able to get an electrical hookup vis-a-vis an extension cord from my cousin's garage next door, and we were able to power the essentials in the house. Of course, we couldn't have any appliances or anything on that would draw a lot of power because it would shut off the electricity in the rental building, my cousin's rental building next door. But the whole house was essentially being powered via an extension cord, and it was absolute. And for us to get an electrical hookup, we needed to have a CO, and in order to get the CO, we needed to finish uh, the work in the house. So it became a catch-22, and it just became an extremely stressful situation. Whereas um, I had to go to Portugal for months on end and stay there um, to basically see this to an end, or it would just never end. And the bureaucracy that I ended up getting caught up in was off the charts. Um, and it was, I would say, one of the most stressful things was when we had no electricity. um, we needed the electricity to finish the project, and we had this band-aid solution going on, and then the road from where the electricity was shut off to when we were finally able to get a CO so that we can take the CO to the electric company to give us our permanent hookup, was absolutely off the charts stressful. We waited months on end for the one subcontractor for the electrical company, which in this case was EDP, to come and break up the road to put in a conduit from the pole across the street to our house, because there's only one company that can do this, and they're obviously very busy. So you're just basically hanging around for this to happen. Anyway, the lesson, many lessons learned. basically the conflict of interest with the builder, and number two, if and when I ever do this again, I will never do. I will make sure that the conduit, before the project even starts, that the conduit is already fed, if a conduit is needed, is already fed to the project and is there waiting. So then there's no temporary telephone pole put in front of the house with a, I want the permanent hookup already to be in place before the construction even starts. This would have saved me lots and lots of time. So takeaway: be careful who you choose as a builder. Be on the lookout for conflicts of interest. Be on the lookout to make sure that he's not so busy and is just collecting new projects. And then what you're going to end up getting is just a piecemeal effort or piecemeal time from him, because he's basically spending a little time in each one of the projects to keep them all going. Anyway, so this is my little or big tidbit on as far as the builder is concerned. And thank you for watching. Please subscribe and like, so that we can continue to bring you content like this. And see you next episode. Thank you.